Hello ladies and gentlemen, let's start the video. And there's going to be a link in the description for a download called the tutorial folder. This will contain a model that's freely available on MXP mods, Photoshop, as well as let's just say an alignment blend almost. And the necessary tools also required is a conversion tool. It's what's it called again? FBX to EDF, Blender, and Notepad++. The first thing you want to do is obviously install all of the programs that are needed, and then come back over here and extract the zip 2003 RM by Demon zip. I'm going to quickly extract this, and also potentially go ahead and download WinMore as well. There we go. Another thing I also suggest is go to your desktop and create the folder, whatchamacallit again? MXB models exporting. So you can click on that, and then there we go. Let's have it as a tab opened. in this newly created folder, go into 2003 Demon folder. Transfer those two over. Then you want to extract these files here as well. You're going to find first the PSD in the template folder, and then you're going to find also JMs and a Blender file. So actually no, it comes out as a folder, but you can see this. These are just for MX Sim. It's not really required for what we're going to do now. Okay. So something I personally like to do is open up Blender right about now. Actually, two versions, I guess you could say instances of Blender. Oh fuck me. There you go, as you can see. One on this side, one on this side. Okay. And then drag and drop the RM125 MXS 2.7 blend over here, and then go back to the tutorial folder and open up the OEM2 blender as well. Awesome. And Blender. You don't per se have your screen doesn't have to per se look like this. It could be full screen and you alt tabbing between these two, but doesn't matter. In the RM screen or blend, you just want to drag your mouse over it and click Control C. Go back here and click Control V. Sorry if I haven't explained Blender controls yet. Middle mouse to move around. Hold Shift plus middle mouse to pan around, and then of course the scroll wheel to zoom in and out, or you can use Control and middle mouse to zoom in and out of your camera. Nonetheless, now we want to match all the location, rotation, and scale values of each of these parts. So the chassis to the chassis, the upper / front end to the front end, lower forks to the lower forks, and then swing arm to the swing arm, so on and so on. So yeah, to the RM model. Just delete that. Also, to delete stuff, you have to press X, then delete, and Control Z to get anything back. I hope you've worked with other creative programs in the past before as well. This video is honestly more of a quick and dirty one, not like some of the other videos here. Quickly just honestly, the only problem really with Insane's video is that he also covers importing like almost a standalone bike. So if you've seen any mouses or the recent pit bike bikes that released, essentially something like that, or like the OEM bikes, we're just importing a standalone bike, so that's why it might be a bit confusing for some people at first. Okay, this is now aligned, this is now aligned. This is now aligned. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now what you can do is essentially delete the white bike itself. Does it even have a UV? Actually it does, that. Nice. There we go. We're not going to use that for at all to import itself. We're just going to use the specific model since it does come with a PSD. Nonetheless, these are also do you see these little black like crosses, I guess you could say? These are going to be used to tell MX bikes how each part works and the animations in a sense. So the chassis, usually in the middle, is going to turn into the chassis. And of course you can make sure that these location, the X location, X axis, is also straight down the middle. And then you put the, what do you do? Oh yeah, put the frame in chassis, put the upper forks in steer, put the string arm in the rear suspension, and put susp, lower forks into the front suspension. Since at least I think the logic is here that this is gonna move, this is also gonna move, but these two mainly stay static, somewhat static. Of course, these two are obviously gonna rotate. Gimbal. These are obviously gonna rotate as you steer. Okay. How I did that is I pressed R and R for rotation and clicked Z for the Z axis, if you're curious. Anyway, now this is here. Go back to the exporting folder that you created. Make sure to copy the location of this as well. And save this blend as a, you can save it as anything, but something easy. RM03 tutorial. Okay. So we're also gonna export this for now without textures because we just wanna align it to the, what bike are we gonna align it to? Let's do the KTM. Oh fuck, I'm actually quite soft. Oopsie daisies, my apologies. Anyway, let's align this to the KTM first and foremost. So let's go to export, FBX. And then this, yes, this is in the correct place. Call it just RM03 FPX, and in the path mode up here, top right, save it, change the path mode to absolute and click export. Just give it a sec. Awesome. Awesome. We're also going to create a new folder here and call it exactly the same as the FBX itself, since these two, the file and the folder, will have to communicate with each other in order to get the textures to be applied correctly when it comes to exporting it into MX bikes. Hopefully that was clear. Nonetheless, this needs to be named exactly the same as the FBX file. So RM03, and the only change is now .fbm. There we go. These first three, or whatever this name is, before the .fbm / the .fbx, does need to be exactly the same. Almost. That's in. We're just gonna align it, make sure everything works first. And yeah, we can continue from there. Back into the tutorial folder, you can click on the new folder here. This contains both the export script as well as the SHD file that you're gonna need when it comes to applying the textures in game, so that it communicates it better in a sense. And of course, another thing you're also gonna need is an export script. Just copy this into here, into the exporting file over here. and open up your FPX to EDF exporter, and make sure to copy the this is like a click on node, awesome, so over here RM03 FPX, calculate, and this also press recalculate here. This script, this is where the script is location. This is where the script itself is located. First thing what I like to do is open up Notepad, copy the path of where the export script is, press backslash, and copy the name of the export script. Make sure to also put .in at the end of it. This is now going to tell the exporter where the export script is located, in a sense. Don't yet press convert because we haven't actually changed where the export script is going to be at. My apologies for this absolutely appalling export script. I'm going to fix that later on. Let's also create now a new folder in the MXB model exporting folder and call it just the exported bike, in a sense. Copy its location, this path right about here, and put it into, let me see if I can zoom in here, this. So just change this to convert it. This is now going to tell the exporter where to put the FPX file, where to put the model.edf at, so that we can use that file in-game, in a sense. Okay, and now press convert. If there's any errors popping up, there shouldn't be, considering we don't have any type of textures on here right now. Let's also open MX Spikes. The neat thing about the KTM is that the KTM lineup, or yeah, the lineup of it, the KTM Gas and the Husqvarna all has the same lineup, and the YZ and the Fantic also has the same lineup, so it's quite convenient for those two bikes. Okay, I don't know how long is this going to take. New folder, bike files. Guess might as well explain these. The chassis.hrc, if suspension.hrc, and steer and rear suspension also correlates with these file or folder names in Blender. Why did it take so long? Essentially, this will allow to tell the game to, I guess you could say, almost render the, of course the GFX file as well. But essentially, these files tell the game to render out the, what can I say? Render out the model that is in when you import it into your game. Since if you don't have those files, ignore that. Since if you don't have those files, the further you go away from the bike, it kind of just disappears. So your rider's kind of just running something that's invisible. If anyone asks for this, either check in the whatchamacallit. There we go. There's the gas. Just check the MX Bikes Discord and in the media. I did post it a while back. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's now done exporting, and there's our model. Now you just want to copy and paste this, since we're gonna do this for the KTM or the Austrian bikes in a sense. Let's put it into the gas. reason. Guess it's 350 over here. Okay. Models in, and usually the problem areas that most people will see is the wheels, this alignment being incorrect, obviously, and then this one here in the back. And of course, because we really have a chain, we have to delete the chain of the model itself first as well. Of course, now this is also just incorrect, so we need to change this as well. By doing it, we just have to tilt both of these backwards. How to do it is click on this 3D or this cursor up here. Move to the since this is already correct as is, click on here, since this will be the access point. Click at the very top of Blender, 3D cursor, and now select both the lower forks and the upper forks. Now you can press R for rotation, X, and hold Shift while holding R at the same time, and slowly move, tilt it back in a sense. And click save. Always make sure to save your project file. Actually, before we do that, select both the chassis and the swing arm, and go to UV editing here above, since we're now going to delete the chain. Just going to quickly pan around here. And where is the Chinese located? You can actually to get the quote-unquote circles to show up here, you can cycle through them by pressing W, in a sense. Nice. Usually, there we go. Found the chain now. Also, these two windows work independently of each other. Sometimes they work together as well when it comes to finding stuff in the UV, but also work independent from a little bit. Actually, let me quickly select this. Sorry if you hear any background noises. And press Control. Of course, now press X and click on vertices to delete the vertices. Fuck me, man. Oh, this is gonna be a one take. It didn't upload it, so yeah. Okay then. Of course, this is not just a model as is. If you want to export faster, maybe you don't always have the best computer. If you want to export faster, the first thing you can actually do is kind of delete almost everything else except the frame itself. You can almost do something like this, just so that there's less polygons or pixels to export. I know that's a bit extreme. Since really the only problem areas you're gonna find is really this and up here. But I'm not gonna do that. That is a, I guess you could say, workflow trick for other time. Okay. Let's get a little music going, I wish. But we can't play any of it because maybe like the strangest music. Actually, no, I do have a playlist. Some while ago TV show. Let me see. What's the type and show? Oh, there we go. That's too loud. Oh, it kind of feels like that's too loud. I don't know. Is it like a stick to the middle? Ah, no, let's not get some music. No. I'm just waiting for it now to export. Also, you probably saw me earlier. I just click on the paint file and just go in between base and stock in order to load the model. That goes the same for loading. Whatchamacallit again? I guess loading chain. No, not chain. Tire models as well. Quite nice actually. I wish Paint files also work like that, but we don't live in a perfect world. Okay, there we go. And I can replace that again. Why is there all of a sudden 2 megabytes of data gone? I do not know. I do not know. Okay, there we go. So now the chain is gone, as well as it's been tilted back far enough. Awesome. Now let's apply some textures. Since the small is practically ready to go, let's exit out of here and apply some textures. Okay. As you can see probably here on the side, if you don't see this, just click on the very bottom like a sphere here, and then you see the materials of each part of the bike. In all reality, you don't actually need all of these materials. This is definitely for like doing renders of the bike. For now, I'm actually gonna delete some of the materials until literally it says material.003, since I see that it's on all of the parts. So just delete that. This is simply so that we don't have to waste time clicking on each material to apply the texture to. There we go. Remember that PSD that we opened up earlier? Double click on that, assuming you have already Photoshop installed. The face should literally come to yeah. All I can say that on YouTube. Okay. Probably can't say that on YouTube. Okay, when we're exporting files, this is the most important part. Genuinely. Let me see if I can get a picture of me completely fucking up the file once. Where is it? Yeah, there's some weird stuff here and there, but it's not too bad. As other shit I've seen before. Where would it be? Is this bike? I don't think so. Ah, there it is. Yeah, it looks completely glossy out, like Diddy has been all over this bad boy. Nonetheless, when you have now the file exported, you want to save the fuse, as it's called here, into your FBM file. Go. Boom. You can call the TJ whatever you want, so I'm just gonna call it rm125.tj. Actually, it's shorten that to just rm, 2 capitals. And then the preceding files, just save it as 24-bit as well. The preceding files, or next files, also gonna save it as 24 bits for now, since this will be for later. I have exactly the same name, but now say _n for the normal, since this is the normal map. Also save it as 24-bit. And so click on spec. On the specular map, this is your reflections now. And call it _r for reflections, obviously. There we go. There's 24-bit. Now you want to do is open up the normal, the _n, the r _n, and put it over this darkened bar, I guess you could say. Put it over there. Press unlock, go to the channel, go to the red channel specifically, and press either Control I or go to Image, Adjustments, and click Invert. There we go. This is for most PSTs you're gonna find, at least coming out of the sim community, for at the very least. And then on top of that, you want to drag and drop now the rm_r over the normal map, and just, I could say, just click on a empty part on here to almost deselect it in a sense. Now here, you're gonna go up to the top right, click adjustments, and go to exposure. And put the exposure amount to -3. There we go. Go back to channels while having everything visually turned on. Go back to channels, click the red, right click, duplicate channel, and call it alpha. Boom, boom. Awesome. Now, having everything selected and on, this is how your screen is supposed to look like. Now you want to save it as Targa or TGA, and save it, since this is now the reflection map, save it as the RM_R. And this time, you want to save it as a 32-bit to apply the background, alpha as well. Now click on the eyes icon, deselect those two. So there you see this on a normal map, in a sense. Targa, and replace it with a T. Now click on RM_in. There we go. Save as 32-bit as well. Awesome. That is honestly all we need to do now. One thing you can also do is optimize the actually, how do I? No, fuck that. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it right away now. And that is that for the Photoshop side of things. Now, go back to your tutorial folder and go into the new folder here. In here, you're also gonna find this template.shd. This is where Notepad++ comes into play now. Just double click on it or right click and then say open with Notepad++. In here, you wanna, how can I explain this? Essentially, this map over here is the normal map. This is not telling the exporter use this as the normal. You can change the shininess of the specular map here, also the reflections here. On Saint's tutorial, he set it to 6. I'm gonna set it to 6 as well. I'm not gonna change anything here. The only real two things you're gonna change is the naming of both the _in here and the _r to match the naming here of the RM. So let's go back into here and let's just click RM and click RM and click save. There we go. Awesome. Now I also want to copy this over and name it also the same as just rm.shd. There we go. Now copy the location of the FBM folder and go now back into Blender. Click on honestly any of these, as long as the material's name is the same on all of them. Not all models are going to be like this, but this one's a bit convenient. Now click on base color and specifically this red circle or dot, not red, yellow dot next to it, and click on image texture. Click on open and click on the RM, the visual texture. There you go, our textures are in here. While we're in here, let's do a couple of animations as well. This is kind of more of a simple model, so let's take a minute. The two types of animations you can do is one's for the clutch, the front brake, the rear brake, and the gear lever. Let's go over to the UV and let's first and foremost do the clutch first. Now you're gonna have to use these both in junction and just select all the correct ones. There we go. That looks like it kind of goes too far, dare I say. Should be good. And press P, separate, so it separates as a model itself. Also going to do the same over here with this. So I'm going too far now. Press P again, press select, so it's its own mesh in a sense. And now you want to press Shift A, go to empty and plane axis. Put on these plane axes for the animation. Oh, my apologies. Holy. I sit on the ground there, bro. Holy. Essentially, what we can do now is also copy and paste the plane axis over here. These will also be called empties in the community. Oopsie daisies. There we go. There we go. For the clutch, I'm gonna call the empty over here clutch underscore lever. And since these objects are also in the steer folder over here, put both of the empties in here. And for the second empty that's on the brake, just call it brake underscore lever. You also want to name the objects the same. So this brake here is going to be called just brake as is, and the clutch side of things will be called clutch. This is a bit, this is definitely a bit crude model over here, but yeah, it's gonna work for now. But now clutch, holy moly, fucking 18, how do I get the voice crack? Put clutch in the clutch underscore lever empty or folders, and do the same for the brake. There we go. Just place the animations wherever it makes the most sense. It makes sense. Where is the access port for this bad boy? So I'm actually going to delete that and then use this instead. There we go. Mario. And all sorts of noises outside my room. Holy. Let's go. There we go. If I'm kind of just doing full anime. There's also extra animations, but oh well. I'll record that in a separate time. And then focusing on exploring it with a couple of animations as well. So actually, zoom out and do this. The full web break. And I'm assuming this goes up. You know what? I've learned a lot about bikes. Even though I've never ridden one. Especially never ridden one in my life. The most I could say I've ridden a scooter, but that was as a passenger with my sister. That's really just about it. Does this move as well? This thing, I don't know. So I'm gonna pick it as well. There we go. Yeah, okay. Oh fuck. P, there we go. Let me go back out to layout and then go back to the chassis and call this rear brake and call the object itself to rear brake and then empty as rear brake underscore lever. There we go. Put those two now in. Oops, I'm pressing tab here to change between UV and whatchamacallit, material view in the solid, of course wireframe. Like this. You can press Z by pressing this, but it doesn't matter now. Let's go back here and you can probably tell I've been doing this for a while. There we go. Okay. What's this? There we go. If it is my second take. At least I'm doing fucking animations this time around. Now, call the gear lever just gear, the model itself. And this empty or the plain axis, gear underscore lever. There we go, put the chassis, but no gear into chassis. There. Got it. Now got textures and animations. Let's go. What I want to do is go to export FBX, save it as an FBX. You don't have to re-click on it if you want to. All you can do is literally just click export. And now, I guess we sit here and twiddle our thumbs a little bit. No way, my fucking recording stopped. Oh, fuck me. Ow. I hate when it's cold. The pain just intensifies us so much more. They stop. No, okay, it's still recording. Thank goodness. Oh, my. I don't want to watch them Supercross. What about now? I'm just gonna let this play out. You can kind of skip this as just exporting. I'll be back when it's done exporting. Hello, I'm back. So now, the same folder, same file into our Gascas 350, and it's just an example one. Okay. In this new folder, go back to the tutorial folder in the new folder. When it comes to the bike files, just copy and paste everything here, over to here. This will load in the, not load in, but will should render out both the chassis, front suspension, rear suspension, steer, as well as the GFX. GFX is important for both the hand positions as well as the animations. And I guess the chaining position and stuff. There we go. I'm definitely gonna change the GFX so that it doesn't show fucking supermoto wheels, because most people don't have the supermotos installed. My apologies. Actually, that's the first thing I'm gonna change when it comes to this. Okay. Unless the bike is not exported, as you can see, everything is working as is. To make sure that the normal and the reflection map is correctly put in, let me quickly turn on all of those backwards. As you can see, the model doesn't look weird. It doesn't look overly glossy. It looks intended. You still have reflections and not too sharp. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. While we're here, actually, let me quickly make the shadow model. Essentially, all you can really do is just copy all of these. Why am I not? Holy, I don't know how to type anymore. Let's get the full shebang down here. The shadow model is kind of almost the last thing you can do. But yeah. Essentially, when it comes to the shadow model, you just want to delete all the materials on each of the parts, since it should be a lower file size than the actual visual model itself. There we go. Go to export now, and oops, daisies. This will also require its own export script. It's just that the only differences we're gonna be is saying shadow model. Also, to export the shadow as FBX, same exact thing, except say _s with the same name. Export. There we go. You can save this. We cannot. Doesn't really matter. For me, at least. Okay. Was that gonna be? Yeah, that's gonna be it for Blender and Photoshop side of things. Now just come to the actual exporting side of things. So copy the export file and call this now export script to shadow. This was called shadow. Fucking shadow _ script. Then go into there and push shadow _model.edf. Just name everything like that as well. Save. And now back to that. This one. I'm also gonna just call it. Oh, I spelled it correctly. Well, not something I should say as I'm making a tutorial. Ini. Now I can open up Stasis. Was it FBX2? On the FBX side of things, just click on Shadow, load the export is the files out. Click on this, open, and copy and paste the shadow script location, as I said earlier, and the shadow. Click convert. That should take a lot more faster in a sense. Nonetheless, I'm gonna ignore for now this wire. You can adjust this later. On most, specifically on Zyos models, usually actually use a wire to align the model itself, but for MX Max I'll leave it for now. I'll leave it for now for the sake of tutorial. Nonetheless, to change position. So here's the most critical part for making your model, how can I say, really like good looking. Good looking. And I mean, to be fair, not saying the other ones didn't matter, but no, they definitely did. But just the small details that matters, you know. And if I remember correctly, it's positive goes down, negative goes up. It's not like that with every tire model, but yeah. And if I remember correctly, yes, this was 0.005. And you can reload it just by going in between base and stock. Okay, actually that was perfect. Okay, now we're gonna go. The accent is the easily loadable map, and quickly go ahead and adjust the hands on the model itself. Since it really does differ from model to model, but the hand positioning is done over here. There's always the X, Y, and Z. Let me quickly find the image I used for it. Hopefully this doesn't expose anything. Ah, there we go. Exactly what I wanted. So this is how the hand positionings work. It's almost an X in a sense. Here is the Z axis, here's the Y axis, and you can see this one goes plus, this one goes plus, minus, minus. So for example, how do you move it up? You both go positive. Both of these values here go positive. If I go down, both of them go negative in a sense. You want to move it forward, the Z has to go positive and the Y has to go negative. If you want to move it back, the Y goes positive and the Z goes negative. That's usually how it goes. There's definitely a bit of a crude drawing, but something I made. When did I make this? a little while ago, to confirm if that's how the hand positioning things work. There we go. Go over it. Over here. As you can see, the hands are completely off. I remember once seeing a Reaper Dog video on the track where it's just whoops. It was a snow track. And his hands were literally like above the handlebars. Ish. I wanted to cry seeing that. If I remember correctly, because I have done this before, I think it was like 200? 2015 or some shit. And this was just like at 27, 29, something like that. Yeah, this is my second take of this. And usually these are in 3 digits. So this would be count as 1, this would be 10, and then 200, and then 1000 if you want to change that. For now, oh fuck, I should probably explain this. Everything under steer, this steer here, that is the 3D, no, the third person view in a sense. So this would be third person view of the hands themselves. Everything under cockpit is the first person view of everything. So here's the first person left and right hand. What can I say? What? Like whatchamacallit again? Hand positions. That's how I would say. Okay. This is a bit of the more tedious part of of exporting bikes and making sure their hands are correctly aligned. But at least I would call this state like photo ready in a sense. You can get the hands in a rough ballpark if you just wanna do whatchamacallit again. Just wanna ride around with it, you can get the hands in a rough ballpark. But if you want something to get like photo ready, where the hands are really properly aligned, I would suggest doing this, like a somewhat tedious part. Even though I've been doing it for a while, and honestly I've been loving doing it. Should I? Should probably not show it. This is also the most tedious part, but okay, that's not even remotely close. Sheesh. So this needs to go horizontally up, which means increasing the y-axis. So let's quickly, I don't know, this looks like a solid 20. It's like a solid 20 up, dare I say. I mean, unfortunately, it's not a such straight line. This is more of just a rough estimation of how the hands move as you move the values of each axis. The x-axis is actually how it moves left and right. So you usually can keep these as is, unless you're doing a model that is completely outside MX spikes. Sort of things. Yeah. Go away. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's a bit hard. It's a bit hard trying to communicate all types of this information that is important, I would say. It's a bit hard. Hard line. There we go. Okay, now we just need to move it down. I would say this is a solid 10. So this means both have to go negative down. Since the z-axis is already in the negative, just go, whoops, 10 down over there, 10 over here, and back down 20. Awesome. Actually, now that I think about it, I think this cross actually follows the hand itself, not where the handlebars are. Now that I think about it, even when we moved it up in the x-axis, we moved it from the point of the hand itself, not where the handlebars are per se, so it went past it in a sense. I think, was it Insane? Yeah, that reply that said the hands are rotating around the access point of the bike. So if you put all of the values to 0, all the hands should accumulate, right at the middle of the access point. Now just, actually, you know what? No, that's perfect. That is perfect. I was about to say maybe move it forward a little bit, but no, that is perfect. Awesome. Now we just have to apply the same for the first person view. So this is 20, 22.5, 22.5, and 0.038. 38, 25, 21, 25. Save it, and is that? We covered animations, the model, exporting the TJ files, and how to correctly have it. Now, trust me, there's too many daddies on this fucking. Not too many daddies, I should say that. There's too many glossy bike models I've seen before. You also see this when exporting paints. Speaking of paints, actually, if you want to now make a paint for your bike, the TGA name will be the same as the TGA name you gave it in the FBM file itself. So yeah. Holy God. Hopefully this one take was more than enough information, was correct information, and was updated information. All of the stuff I just said is almost exactly the same that was in Insane's video from 4 years ago, maybe actually 5 years ago at this point. Yeah, hands all aligned. They're aligned over here as well. Beautiful. Now let's see if the animations work. Yep, that works. And if that works as well. And do the rear brake as well. And of course shifting up the gears. Hello. Quick go back over here. Let's see if we can see if my that was the front brake. I think there it goes. Should move. Oh come on, it is oh, I think I saw it move. Let's make sure I go into the rear end camera. You can see it. Boom! It moves. That means animation actually worked. And now what's going on? Oh, if you're curious how I'm moving around, this controls here essentially this is numpad controls that I've used. Like trust me, it's a game changer. Since now you don't even need this menu. And we'll be able to see that actually. Quickly brake. Just go up all the gears. There we go. Yeah, you can see it move. Ever so slightly. Beautiful stuff. As intended. And the chain is kind of going inside the gear lever. I guess. But yeah, this is now how to fully export a bike model, including animations, the shadow model as well, and animations. I already said animations. And how to make it also look good. Let me actually take a quick picture of this. If you want to do extra parts like get device or shot or whatever, essentially you have to do exactly the same as the textures and apply it in the correct region as well. That's usually how it's done. Of course, that's visual. If that wasn't there, I would say that. Anyway, adios amigos. Hopefully the tutorial was useful. And see you next one.